Discover the life-changing bond. How a single dad's touching gesture turned loneliness into incredible community. Mike Jenkins felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. As a single dad working 2 jobs in a quiet suburb of Philadelphia, every day was a struggle with bills and unfulfilled dreams. The laughter of families enjoying their weekends in the nearby parks was a constant reminder of the solitude he and his 11-year-old daughter, Lily, faced. Their modest home felt more like a prison of economic inequality, where affection sometimes took a back seat to survival. Lily was battling her own monsters. In the halls of middle school, harsh whispers and judgmental glares followed her like shadows. While her peers rushed to share secrets and giggles, she sat on the sidelines, longing for connection in a world that felt so incredibly cold. She watched her dad push through long hours at work, a mix of worry and strength etched into his tired face. Mike was doing everything he could, yet it felt like the weight of societal expectations and the stigma of unemployment were pulling them both under. One evening, scrolling through local resources after another exhausting day, Mike's eyes fell upon a flyer proclaiming a free family night at the community center down the street. Excitement mingled with doubt as he considered the possibilities. Would this be a chance to break the cycle of loneliness? With deep breaths and a hopeful heart, he decided to take Lily. As they walked into the community center, they were hit by a wave of warmth and noise. Families of all shapes and sizes buzzed with laughter and chatter, each carrying their battles, yet radiating resilience. For the first time in ages, Mike felt a flicker of hope ignite in his chest. Standing in the middle of it all, he shared his journey with other parents, revealing their loneliness. They nodded, understanding etched across their faces. Encouraged, he proposed a neighborhood potluck to strengthen the ties in their community. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But what started as a hopeful idea soon met resistance. Murmurs of economic judgment rippled through the neighborhood, and Mike felt the sting of shame creep back in. Some neighbors seemed poised to strike at the very heart of his effort. Disbelief and hurt mixed with his resolve, shaking the fragile foundations of connection that he and Lily had begun to build. What if they reject us? Lily whispered one night, her eyes shining with fear. But together, they found the courage to confront the negativity. They stood tall and spoke of their shared struggles, inviting understanding instead of scorn. It was a moment charged with emotion, igniting a warmth among families eager to connect. As the potluck drew closer, tension rose, but so did the bonds of resilience. Would their efforts unify the community, or would division smother the flickering flame of hope? As Mike prepared to welcome their neighbors into their home, a single knock on the door echoed through the quiet. Would it bring acceptance or rejection? What lay beyond that door could change everything for him and Lily if only they had the courage to answer. With a deep breath, Mike opened the door, his heart racing. Standing before him was Mrs. Collins, an older neighbor whose garden overflowed with flowers every spring. She peered at him, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. It was a moment that felt like a crossroads, the air thick with unspoken words. "Mike," she began, her voice soft yet steady, "I heard about your potluck. I wanted to check in on you and Lily, and to let you know that I think it's a wonderful idea." Relief washed over Mike, but he sensed there was more. "Thank you, Mrs. Collins. I hope it brings us all closer," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. I hope so too," she said, hesitating before continuing. "But I also know some people are hesitant. They fear what they don't understand." The worry in her eyes mirrored the uncertainty he felt deep down. "Yeah, I know," Mike admitted, his voice a little strained. "But Lily and I just want to create a space where everyone feels welcome. We're all struggling in our own ways, aren't we?" Mrs. Collins nodded, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "We are. I'd like to help. Maybe I can bring my famous potato salad?" A tentative smile creased her face, and Mike couldn't help but grin back. Absolutely. It'd be a hit, he said, the weight on his shoulders feeling a little lighter. They exchanged ideas, and by the time Mrs. Collins left, there was a sense of camaraderie floating in the air, a spark of collective hope igniting between them. In the days leading up to the potluck, Mike lost himself in preparation, buoyed by this newfound connection. His apartment transformed from a stagnant space to a cozy hub buzzing with life. A table groaned under the weight of dishes as friends and neighbors offered to pitch in, each one carrying something special, something from their heart. Lily helped by decorating, her laughter echoing through the rooms, brightening the atmosphere that moments before had felt heavy with doubt, but inside, the dread still flickered like a candle in a storm. Would people show up, or would they hide away in their homes, feeding their doubts rather than joining hands with their neighbors? On the evening of the potluck, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mike stood at the door, anxiety knotting his stomach. "Do you think anyone will come, Dad?" Lily asked, her small hand gripping his tightly. "They will," Mike replied, trying to infuse confidence into their shared moment. "It's the first step. No matter what happens tonight, we're creating something important." Then, the doorbell rang, breaking the stillness. Each sound echoed louder than the last as Mike turned, heart hammering, only to reveal a familiar face, Mr. Johnson, the quiet retired teacher from next door, holding a pie with a shy smile. One by one, neighbors trickled in, laughter mingling with the aroma of food. Mike watched in awe as tables filled with dishes and people connected over shared stories and laughter. Walls of isolation began to crumble as voices rose in joy against the backdrop of tentative hope. Then, as if sensing the culmination of their efforts, Lily thrummed with excitement. She stood up and asked everyone to share what they were grateful for, igniting a wave of stories that swept through the room. But amid the growing warmth and connection, a shadow lingered at the back, a newcomer, someone from the neighborhood Mike didn't recognize, silently observing. Their scrutinizing gaze sent a chill down Mike's spine. What if they shattered the moment they had built? What would happen if acceptance waned and judgment returned? As the evening wore on, he felt the undeniable tension in his chest tighten. Would this gathering really be the turning point, or was it just an illusion, waiting to be put to the test? Surrounded by hopeful faces, he still couldn't help but wonder if true acceptance was something they could achieve or if it was just one more hurdle they had yet to face. He took a deep breath and steeled himself for the unknown, eyes drifting to the newcomer. In that moment, he knew that their journey was far from over, but how? Would they navigate what lay ahead? The potluck pulsed with laughter and the clattering of dishes, creating an atmosphere thick with goodwill. Mike glanced around, his heart swelling with pride as he watched neighbors connecting, breaking bread, and sharing laughter. It was a scene he had hoped for, but now it felt almost surreal. Yet, that newcomer's gaze still lingered at the back, weighing heavily on Mike's mind. They were a solitary figure, arms crossed, eyes glazed over, and Mike couldn't shake the feeling that they were an outsider, an uninvited critique watching from the shadows. "Dad, can we go talk to them?" Lily's small voice broke through his thoughts. She tugged on his sleeve, a spark of curiosity in her eyes. He hesitated, panic bubbling beneath the surface. "Maybe later, sweetheart. Let us focus on the people who are here." Desperation colored his tone. He didn't want Lily exposed to something that might dim her light. But Lily tilted her head. Her intuition was sharper than he realized. "What if they feel lonely?" She persisted, unaware of how those words cut right through him. He felt raw and exposed, clutching onto his own fears about belonging. Taking a deep breath, Mike nodded slowly. "All right, let us see if we can invite them over." As they made their way through the throng of happy chatter, Mike felt the need to hide away, to blend into the joyful noise. But Lily's small hand held firm, guiding him with a confidence he wished he could borrow. When they reached the newcomer, Mike forced a smile. "Hi there. I'm Mike, and this is my daughter Lily. We're having a potluck. Would you like to join us?" The person's face was unreadable, a blank canvas that offered no immediate reaction. Then, the flicker of surprise crossed their face, followed by a hesitant smile. "I'm Alex. I just moved in last week." Glad to have you in the neighborhood. Lily chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. We have food, and everyone is sharing what they're grateful for. You should join us. Alex shifted their weight, revealing a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. I'm not so sure. But Mike pressed gently, you don't have to say much. Just be here with us. It's about community. We're all just trying to get to know each other. The newcomer's walls slowly crumbled as they stood taller. Okay, I'll give it a try, they said, taking a cautious step forward. As they joined the group, a ripple of hope surged through Mike. Maybe, just maybe, they were breaking down the barriers that isolated them. The more they all shared their stories, the more lives intertwined. The feeling of connection blossomed, and laughter echoed, drowning out doubts. Lily continued to lead the charge of gratitude sharing. As stories began to unfold, someone brought up their struggles with loss, and suddenly, tears edged toward the corners of eyes that moments before were filled with laughter. Mike felt a familiar tightness in his throat. They weren't just sharing food, they were sharing their souls. Each person revealed fragments of their truth, creating a beautiful tapestry of emotion. But when it was Alex's turn, their voice trembled, breaking the harmony. I've wanted to belong somewhere, but I've always felt like an outsider. The room fell silent. Mike saw vulnerability clash with fear. In that moment, he felt the pulse of their shared struggle. We all feel that way sometimes, Mike said, his heart pounding. The important part is that you took a step to come here tonight. You've already begun to belong. A tentative smile broke through Alex's nervousness, a hint of relief sparking to life in their eyes. The evening continued, but Mike could sense a profound shift. Connections formed, and laughter reigned again as stories bonded them closer. Yet, as he watched the faces around him, that nagging worry remained. Would it last? Would this connection endure beyond the evening? Or would the fear of disconnection loom larger once they stepped back into their separate lives? As the night wore on, Mike couldn't shake the sense that tomorrow would hold its own challenges. Just as he thought they were overcoming barriers, new ones might appear. In his heart, he wondered what awaited them on this newfound path. The gathering had turned out beautifully, yet the feeling still loomed large. They had taken steps forward, but were they truly ready to face the next hurdle? Did they have what it took to transform those fleeting moments of hope into lasting change? The night wore on, filled with moments of laughter and tears, but a delicate tension hung in the air. As dishes were cleared and desserts shared, Mike felt a swelling sense of concern. Alex was now part of the group, but he could still see the shadows of uncertainty flickering in their eyes. It was like a storm cloud hovering just beyond the reach of the warmth they had created. Lily bounced around the gathering, completely oblivious to the subtleties that danced just below the surface. She delighted in sharing stories about her day at school, her laughter ringing like a bell. It made Mike smile, but at the same time, he couldn't shake his unease. How are you doing, Alex? Mike finally ventured, hoping to forge a deeper connection. Honestly? Alex hesitated, glancing over at the others deep in conversation. I'm still trying to figure things out. I've moved around a lot and it's exhausting. Mike felt a pang of empathy. I get that. Moving can be a real challenge. But I promise, people here are genuinely kind. They want to connect. I appreciate that, Alex replied, their voice catching as they looked down at their hands. But sometimes, it feels like I'm a puzzle piece that doesn't belong in this picture. Mike could relate. He had wrestled with similar feelings, especially after the divorce. You've taken a brave step tonight. Just remember, it's a journey for all of us. No one has it figured out. Alex nodded slowly, their eyes brightening as they absorbed Mike's words. As the hours ticked by, the gathering ebbed and flowed. Conversations morphed from light-hearted banter into deeper revelations, all the while drawing everyone closer. Mike scanned the room, finding solace in the smiles and laughter. Each connection felt like a small victory, but he couldn't ignore the underlying question. Would this sense of community fade when the evening ended? Behind him, he heard Lily's voice rise above the others. Can we play a game next? something to get everyone involved. Excitement radiated from her, a bright light that illuminated the room. Great idea. Mike agreed, hoping it would break through any lingering unease. How about a circle game? We can all share something fun or silly about ourselves. A few people cheered in approval, but Mike noticed Alex hesitating. It seemed that the thought of sharing in front of everyone was daunting. Yet something beautiful unfolded when he watched the others rally in support. You're not alone, Alex. Just be yourself. Mike encouraged, putting a hand on their shoulder. Slowly, Alex's expression softened. All right, I'm in. Let us try this. As the game began, laughter erupted. One by one, people shared humorous stories, revealing bits of themselves, weaving a tapestry of connection. Each story was met with roars of laughter or light-hearted jabs, creating an atmosphere that felt almost electric, but just when the energy soared, a small voice among the group asked, "What if someone doesn't want to share?" The joy perked up with curiosity, but Mike felt a sudden pang. He knew that vulnerability could feel like walking a tightrope. It was a moment of truth waiting to unfold. He glanced at Alex. Would they step into the light and share their truth, or cling to the shadows of past hesitations? Tension coiled in Mike's stomach as he wondered, what would Alex reveal if they chose to let go just a little more? Would they take a leap or remain behind their invisible wall? He held his breath, waiting for the next move in this delicate dance of connection, hoping against hope that tonight would truly be a turning point in their lives. Alex sat in the circle, the warm glow of the fairy lights casting soft shadows on their face. The laughter around them felt like a balm, yet a storm raged just behind their eyes. Mike had offered support, but doubts crept in, whispering fears of rejection. The question lingered, amplifying their insecurity. Would anyone care about their story? It was then that Lily's voice broke through, innocent and sweet. I want to hear from everyone. She clapped her hands, her enthusiasm infectious. How about we start with Alex? The spotlight turned, and Alex felt their heart race. All eyes shifted in anticipation. They could sense the pulse of hope and apprehension in the room, a shared moment of vulnerability that hung in the air. Okay, Alex's voice faltered for a split second. They could feel the pressure of expectations, but something stirred inside them. I guess I'll share a silly story, one that makes me dread the thought of school. As they launched into the tale of a disastrous science fair project that had imploded in a shower of vinegar and baking soda, laughter erupted, and Alex felt a spark of relief. With every chuckle from the group, Alex's nerves began to settle, just a bit. The cracks in their wall felt less daunting. I can't believe you did that. Someone exclaimed, shaking their head in disbelief. I would have freaked out. The warmth washed over Alex, igniting an ember of connection. It was like discovering a hidden corner of the world that was no longer off limits. They glanced around and saw encouraging smiles, nodding heads, people who understood more than they'd ever imagined. As stories flowed, Mike marveled at the transformation happening before him. Alex was no longer just a quiet observer, they were now a vibrant part of the narrative. Okay, who's next? Lily chimed in, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Let us hear from you, Mike. A friend suggested, trying to keep the energy alive. Mike laughed, feeling the weight of their gaze. He took a deep breath, recognizing the significance of this moment. All right, you asked for it, he said, preparing to share a glimpse of his own struggles. It was time to let the light in, to show his scars alongside his victories. He began to speak about the challenges of single fatherhood, trying to juggle work and finding joy in small moments with Lily. His voice cracked slightly as he recounted a time when they both felt lost, turning something so personal into a shared experience. In that moment, Alex felt a shift. Here was someone being raw and real, and it resonated deep within them. They realized they didn't have to carry the burden of loneliness alone. Sometimes, Mike continued, we all just need to remember that it's alright to not be okay. That's where community comes in. We lift each other up. A ripple of murmurs of agreement swept through the group, and Alex felt the weight of their own fears lifting, piece by piece. The night had passed, but it felt like something had just begun. As people continued to share, a thought flickered in Alex's mind. What would it mean to truly belong, to find a place in this mosaic of lives? The circle wound down, laughter still echoing, but a question lingered in the air. Would Alex find the courage to reveal the deeper layers of their heart? With the connections forged strong that night, Alex sensed there was more at stake than just individual stories. It was a beginning, an invitation to break further from solitude and dive deeper into friendship. The room hummed with unsaid promises and unspoken fears, and something like hope began to unfurl within Alex. Would they seize the moment and embrace this newfound family, or would doubt pull them back? As the final laughter faded, the question hung heavily in the air, like an unfinished puzzle waiting for its last piece. Alex sat back in their chair, heart still racing from the stories swirling around the room. The tension eased, like a soft tide retreating after a storm. Each person shared something that peeled back layers, a lost love, a battle with anxiety, a favorite memory. The laughter intermixed with the tears, creating an unbreakable thread of honesty that wound around them. All right. Who's next? Lily beamed, her eyes twinkling like the lights above them. Silence blanketed the room, a collective pause hanging thick with unspoken thoughts. Alex felt a flutter in their stomach. The atmosphere felt charged, electric. Where would this lead? Suddenly, Lily turned, wide-eyed and hopeful. Alex. You should go again. The warmth of her gaze shot through them, pushing against the walls they had built. Would they dare take another step? In that fleeting moment, Alex felt an urge to dig deeper. Okay, well, I have another story about something a bit more serious, they managed to say, the words tasting new on their tongue. The room leaned in closer, a mix of nervous energy and support. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the ground beneath them collective yet solid. I haven't really talked about my family much. I guess I worry people might judge. My mom struggles with her mental health, and it's been tough. Sometimes, it feels like I'm alone in the whole thing. A hush blanketed the crowd. The immediate understanding and empathy in the room struck Alex deeply. It was as if they had unveiled a hidden piece of themselves, and in that moment, they could sense no judgment, just compassion. When they continued, their voice was steadier. There were times I couldn't focus in school. Friends would be socializing, but I felt like I was walking through a fog. It wasn't until I found people who could relate that I started feeling less like I was drowning. Lily leaned forward, eyes glistening with a mix of admiration and sadness. You're so brave for talking about this, she said softly. Yeah, really, someone added. We all face stuff, and it's refreshing to hear. It helps us feel normal, you know? The quick ripples of agreement washed over Alex. They had swung open a door so long shut, and the light flooded in. With every nod and affirmative murmur, fear started melting away. They realized this wasn't just about their story. It was about how their vulnerability had the power to pull them together. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. It's not easy, Mike said, his voice steady. Sometimes, we think we're the only ones carrying a load, but then, sharing makes it lighter. Tears pricked at Alex's eyes from the overflow of emotions. The truth truly was powerful. A warm sense of connection wrapped around them like a blanket, softening the harsh edges of solitude. But just as they felt a sense of belonging, another thought bubbled to the surface. How would they navigate these connections when darkness returned? As laughter followed a light-hearted comment from Mike, Alex felt a pit form in their stomach. Would they really be able to stay strong, to rely on others when they stumbled again? The question loomed large and daunting, casting a shadow over the light that had just begun to shine. Can we do this every week? Lily chirped, her voice bubbling with the joy of shared moments. I feel like we're all learning so much about each other. Everyone chimed in with approval. But as Alex's smile faded into thoughtfulness, an overwhelming realization struck. What if next time, they couldn't peel back that layer again? The very thought was suffocating. As the group shared plans for their next gathering amidst laughter and chatter, Alex remained quiet, contemplating their fears and the delicate balance between connection and vulnerability. The vulnerability they had just shown felt like a tender flower fighting against a harsh wind. What waited for them on this journey forward? Would they be strong enough to continue sharing, or would they falter in the face of their fears? The night was far from over, and the story was just beginning. Alex stared at the flickering candles on the table, their mind wandering through a maze of thoughts. The laughter and chatter around them felt distant, as if wrapped in a thick fog. A part of them wanted to sink into the comfort of those connections, but another part remained hesitant, anchored in insecurity. Lily's voice broke through the haze. Let us go around and think of one thing we're grateful for this week. I feel like it'll be a nice way to wrap up our time together. Great idea. Someone chimed in, and the room sparkled back to life. One by one, they went around the table, sharing moments of joy big and small that had meant something to them. As it was Alex's turn, they felt a heaviness settle on their chest. What could they possibly say that didn't feel inadequate compared to what others had shared? A smile crept back onto their face when they thought of the little moments that had sparked warmth in their heart, even if just for an instant. All right, I'm grateful for this group. For the way we can just be real together. It means a lot to me. Gasps of admiration and soft smiles greeted them as they spoke. Alex could feel the warmth ripple through their chest, that lightness beginning to replace the weight of doubt. Then, unexpectedly, Mike leaned in, penitent yet earnest. I think it's awesome you shared that, Alex. You know, it takes courage to be vulnerable. Just like we're learning here, it's okay to not have all the answers. The conversation flowed through laughter and gratitude, brushing away the fear in Alex's heart. Still, a sliver of doubt lingered, a gnawing fear that perhaps they wouldn't be able to maintain this piece of relief when harder days came. As the evening began to wind down, Lily suggested something even bolder. What if we each shared a goal or something we want to work towards? Like support each other through our ups and downs. That idea sent a wave of excitement through the group, but Alex felt a pang of anxiety. What could they offer? What transformation could they strive for that wouldn't slip through their fingers like sand? I think I would want to be stronger, Alex said finally, stumbling over the words. Stronger in the sense of balancing my own challenges and supporting others too. I guess just trying to be more open with my struggles. It felt raw and honest to utter that, and Alex's heart raced. Lily beamed. That's huge. We'll be here for you, Alex. We all need to lean on each other. The warmth radiating from her words wrapped around Alex. It felt reassuring, like a soft embrace from a close friend. Yet their thoughts darted back to the question that had haunted them all evening. Could they really hold on to that openness and be as strong as they hoped? After they wrapped up, standing outside under a carpet of stars, Alex felt buoyed by an unexpected weightlessness. Maybe there was strength in vulnerability they had never considered, but then, a chill swept through the air, and the darkness of uncertainty loomed again. As they walked home, doubts washed over Alex. Would they be alone again when shadows crept back in? With each step, they pondered that looming fear. The journey ahead felt fraught with hidden pitfalls. What if all this sharing and connection crumbled when faced with real struggles? Would they still have the courage to reach out, to show up for others? Just as they reached their front door, the unanswered questions echoed in their mind. Could vulnerability truly transform their life? And would they find the strength not just to connect but to sustain it when the road became rough? The night held its breath as Alex stepped inside, nerves churning anew, the story still unfolding. The morning light spilled through the window, warming the corners of Alex's room. They blinked awake, thoughts swirling lazily in their mind. The soft glow was a stark contrast to the storm of doubt still lingering from last night. Alex sat up slowly, letting a deep breath fill their lungs, as memories of the gathering played like a gentle film reel in their head. What a night, they whispered to themselves, the words both an acknowledgement and a plea for stability. Those moments of shared gratitude felt significant, a leaping-off point from hesitation and into the warmth of connection. But just as quickly, that weight of uncertainty settled back in. Could they really confront their fears head-on? What if the openness they craved slipped away like a feather floating into the breeze? After a quick shower, Alex made their way to the kitchen, the rich scent of coffee grounding but also sparking a mild sense of anxiety. Breakfast was usually a solitary affair, but this morning, they had resolved to embrace the shift in energy from last night. They poured a cup of coffee, inhaling deeply as the steam filled the air. The warmth in their hands felt reassuring, a reminder that simple pleasures could carry them through all sorts of challenges. Just then, their phone buzzed. A text from Lily popped up. "Hey. Just checking in. How are you feeling after last night? Remember, we're in this together." Alex felt sudden warmth flood their heart. There it was. A tangible connection. They typed back quickly, fingers dancing across the screen. "Hey." Feeling a mix of excitement and, well, nerves. "Thanks for checking in." Lily replied almost instantly, her enthusiasm bubbling through the screen. "That's totally normal. Can't wait to support each other in our goals. Remember, we're stronger together." A flood of gratitude washed over Alex at those words. They realized that vulnerability didn't have to be an isolating experience. In recognizing their own challenges, they discovered a bridge between people. A thought struck them: maybe today was an opportunity to reach out to be honest about those fears with someone else. The idea bubbled inside them like fresh coffee brewing. It was daunting but also liberating. Alex moved through their day with the seed of intention growing steadily. What if they flipped the narrative they often told themselves? Instead of focusing on their shortcomings and fears, what if they leaned into their experiences, allowing others to see them more clearly? Later that afternoon, Alex reached out to Mike. They felt their heart racing as they typed, summoning the courage to be open. "Hey, Mike. I was hoping to chat about some stuff I've been feeling. Could you meet up later?" The minutes felt eternal until Mike replied, his tone warm and open as if he could sense the weight behind Alex's message. "Absolutely. Let us meet at our favorite coffee shop. I'll be there in 30. As Alex got ready to head out, they could feel a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. This was different. It felt right. Out there in that cafe, with the aroma of coffee and the sound of familiar chatter, they were about to share more of themselves than they ever had before. What if Mike responded positively? Would this spark a new kind of connection for Alex? They took a deep breath, tucking a loose strand of hair behind their ear as they stepped out into the afternoon sun. The world felt brighter around them. For the first time in a long while, Alex wasn't just battling thoughts of self-doubt but instead craving the vulnerability that came with sharing struggles. Would it really help to connect? Unbeknownst to them, the conversation would lead to answers that could change everything. As their footsteps echoed toward the cafe, a single question hung in the air. What if embracing vulnerability opened doors Alex never even knew existed? Alex stepped into the cozy coffee shop, the familiar sound of the espresso machine humming like a friend. Their heart quickened at the sight of Mike already sitting at their usual corner table, a half-empty cup in front of him and that easy smile spreading across his face. It was in that moment, surrounded by laughter and chatter, that Alex felt a flicker of hope. "Hey, you made it," Mike called out, waving them over. Alex joined him, sitting across the table where the sunlight streamed in through the window. "Yeah, I figured it was time to talk," Alex said, trying to read Mike's expression. A million thoughts raced through their mind, but for the first time, they were determined to say what they needed to say. Understanding flashed in Mike's eyes as he leaned forward. "What's been going on?" Alex took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the coffee shop envelop them, and began to share the thoughts that had seemed so daunting just hours before. "I've just been feeling off lately. Like there's this weight on my shoulders, and I'm not sure how to shake it. I think it has to do with how I view myself." The words poured out, and with each sentence, the knot inside them began to unravel. Mike listened intently, nodding as Alex recounted the feelings of doubt and uncertainty that had shadowed them for so long. "You're definitely not alone in this," Mike finally said, his voice low and sincere. "I think we all feel that way sometimes. It's hard. But sharing it, like you're doing now, that takes guts." Alex felt a wave of relief wash over them, mixed with disbelief at how easy it was to open up in this warm bubble of connection. It was as if the air around them became lighter, that shared vulnerability sculpting a new reality. "What helps you?" Alex asked, intrigued. Instead of answering immediately, Mike leaned back, lost in thought. "Honestly, I try to find small ways to remind myself of the good. Like little moments watching my daughter's face light up at something so simple. Those reminders keep me grounded, you know? A smile crept across Alex's face. That sounds amazing. It must help to see those moments in your life, especially when you're a dad. Mike's eyes sparkled as he spoke of his daughter, Clara, relaying stories of her innocent antics. Alex found themselves laughing, captivated by Mike's warmth, and for the first time, the weight on their heart felt lighter. As their conversation deepened, they discovered shared experiences, struggles they both faced, and dreams they held close. It felt surreal to connect in this raw and meaningful way. Each story traded across the table built a bridge, grounding their bond into something tangible, perhaps even transformative. But just as the conversation reached a profound depth, Mike's expression shifted, and a flicker of seriousness clouded his eyes. Alex, it sounds like we're both a bit lost. But I believe that talking to each other is a step forward. Let us keep doing this, okay? The word together hung in the air with an unspoken promise. Alex wanted to accept but couldn't shake the concern. What if opening up to someone else led to more hurt? Lost in their thoughts, they felt fear seep back in, and the words hovered on the tip of their tongue. What if it all falls apart? Mike reached out, laying a hand over Alex's. What if it doesn't? In that moment, Alex felt a tremor of hope and confusion intertwine. What would it look like to embrace this new connection, this budding friendship laden with honesty? As they left the cafe, stepping out into the crisp evening air, the glow of streetlights began to flicker on. The city buzzed with life, yet Alex remained locked in a moment of contemplation over what Mike had shared. Could they, in fact, embrace vulnerability without fear? The possibilities stretched out like a horizon in front of them, and the deeper question loomed. What if taking this leap of faith could lead not only to healing but to a connection unlike anything they had ever known? As the sun set over Philadelphia, casting golden rays across the city, Mike and Alex discovered an anchor in their conversation. The coffee shop buzz was now a fading echo as they stepped outside, both feeling lighter, as if shedding layers of worry they had long carried. Days passed since that heartfelt encounter, yet each moment seemed to build upon their newfound connection. Mike woke every morning with a little more hope, excited to navigate the adventure of fatherhood and friendship. Alex, too, found strength in sharing their experiences, gradually embracing vulnerability like a friend they'd lost for years. Lily had taken it upon herself to keep the momentum alive. Let us have another potluck. To keep all of us together, she declared one afternoon. The excitement in her voice was infectious, and without hesitation, Mike agreed. They began planning, sending out invites that felt more like heartfelt letters than simple notifications. It was a chance to gather not just for food, but for warmth and connection once more. When the evening of the potluck finally arrived, the air was filled with the sweet scent of homemade dishes and laughter. Neighbors arrived, plates in hand, ready to share in another moment of togetherness. But this time, it felt different. People greeted one another with warmer smiles, and the flutter of initial nerves had transformed into a sense of belonging. Alex's voice rang out from the crowd, and Mike beamed with pride as they shared another goofy story that had everyone doubled over in laughter. It was a moment blossoming into something beautiful. At that moment, they initiated deeper conversations, probing into the challenges and triumphs in their lives, building a tapestry woven from shared experiences. But the most touching moment came when Lily stood up. She clutched a small piece of paper with scribbles and a proud smile that radiated confidence. Can I share something? The room fell silent, everyone's attention on her. Dad and I wanted to start a kindness board, a place where we can put up notes or stories about when someone helped us or made us feel good. So we can remember to lift each other up. Her cheeks flushed with enthusiasm, and for a moment, the room overflowed with awe, admiration, and applause. That's brilliant, Lily. Alex chimed in, their voice trembling slightly with emotion. It's the perfect way to remind us what it means to belong. As the potluck evolved, people began to contribute their stories, hammering nails into the wall to hold up slips of paper strung together by hope and laughter. Each note encapsulated a moment of gratitude, a small act of kindness, or something that ignited joy in their hearts. It was a living testament to the connections they all were nurturing. Hours flew by, and as laughter echoed through the night, Mike found himself wrapped up in Alex's narrative. They shared darker moments, the shadows of mental health in their family, the struggle of moving and starting over, yet honesty radiated a warm light around them all. "Thank you for allowing this to happen," Mike said deeply, looking around the room filled with familiar faces now painted in vibrant emotions of trust. "Tonight proves that even in the midst of our struggles, we can find strength together." Alex nodded, swallowing back grateful tears. "I never envisioned being part of something like this. It's you who inspired me to open up." At that moment, not only did healing take shape, but friendships blossomed, bridging gaps of isolation. As people smiled and shared more stories, enveloped by laughter and connection, Mike felt as if the walls of loneliness that once anchored them began to dissolve. When the night finally dimmed and goodbyes fluttered in the air, Mike stood aside, watching as everyone trickled out, clutching new friendships forged through vulnerability. Lily squeezed his hand tightly, radiant as ever. "See, Dad? We did it." And as they walked home together under the stars, Mike initiated a new conversation. "How about we add our own note to that kindness board?" "Yeah." Lily beamed, practicality mixed with enthusiasm. "Let's do it every week. Kindness is easy." Mike smiled broadly, his heart soaring. "Absolutely. We'll make this a habit." As they embraced the possibilities of tomorrow with renewed courage, Mike's heart swelled with gratitude. He had not just found a community, he had found family in the most unexpected places. They weren't merely neighbors, they had become companions on this journey of life, gathered together through laughter, kindness, and an unyielding commitment to support one another. And in that moment it was clear that while challenges may greet them on the horizon, they were more than ready to face them together. If you resonated with this story, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on our exclusive stories that will inspire and uplift you. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like to help feed the algorithm. We want to know your feelings about this ending, so comment below. Your voice matters. And please share this uplifting video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.